Hare Krishna. So I'm most happy to be in your nice association after several years, being away from South Africa due to Adi Bhautika. Natural things that affect us. Okay. So we'll read from Srimad Bhagavatam. You can repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we read from Srimad Bhagavatam on the anniversary, most auspicious occasion of Shri Krishna Janmashtami, in chapter 5 of the 10th canto, and the chapter is entitled The Meeting of Nanda Maharaj and Vasudev. So we are reading text 1 and 2 for this morning. The texts are grouped together in the verses, at least, are grouped together. And the Sanskrit is as follows. Shri Sukha uvacha Nandastvad maja utpane Jata lado maha manaha Ayu ya vipran vedagyan Snatur suchir alankritaha Vachayitva swastyayanam jata karmat majasyavai karayam asha vidivat pitrideva chanam tataha. You can repeat the word for word after me. Shri Sukha uvacha. Shri Sukadev Goswami said, Nanda, Maharaj Nanda, to indeed Atmaja, his son, Utpane, having been born, Jata, overwhelmed, Alada, in great jubilation, Maha Manaha, who was great-minded, Ayuha, no, Ayuya, Ahuya, invited, Vipran, the Brahmanas, Vedagyan, who were fully conversant in Vedic knowledge, Snataha, taking a full bath, suchihi, purifying himself. Alankritaha, being dressed very nicely with ornaments and fresh garments. Vachayitva, after causing to be recited. Swasti, Ayanam, Vedic mantras by the Brahmanas. Jata Karma, the festival for the birth of the child. Atmajasya, of his own son. Vai, indeed. Karayam, Asha, cause to be performed. Vidivat, according to the Vedic regulations. Pitri, Deva, Archanam, the worship of the forefathers and the demigods. Tataha, as well as. And the translation with the purport by His Divine Grace says, Say Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki. Sukadev Goswami said, Nanda Maharaj was naturally very magnanimous, and when Lord Sri Krishna appeared as his son, he was overwhelmed by jubilation. Therefore, after bathing and purifying himself and dressing himself properly, he invited Brahmanas who knew how to recite Vedic mantras. After having these qualified Brahmanas recite auspicious Vedic hymns, he arranged to have the Vedic birth ceremony celebrated for his newborn child according to the rules and regulations. And he also arranged for the worship of the demigods and forefathers. And in the purport by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has discussed the significance of the words Nandas tu. The word tu, he says, is not used to fulfill the sentence, because without tu, the sentence is complete. Therefore, the word tu, this I'm pronouncing tu, but it's spelled T-U, not T-W-O. It's a Sanskrit word. And so for the word tu is used 1, 2, 3, 4 times so far in the purport in the first few sentences. Therefore, the word tu is used for a different purpose. Although Krishna appeared as the son of Devaki, Devaki and Vasudeva did not enjoy the Jata Karma, the festival of the birth ceremony. Instead, this ceremony was enjoyed by Nanda Maharaj, as stated here. Nandas tvatmaja utpane jata lado mahamanaha. When Nanda Maharaj met Vasudeva, Shri Radha Radhanath ki, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Giriraj Govardhan ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. When Nanda Maharaj met Vasudeva, Vasudeva could not disclose Your son Krishna is actually my son. You are his father in a different way, spiritually. Because of fear of Kamsa, Vasudeva could not observe the festival for Krishna's birth. Nanda Maharaj, however, took full advantage of this opportunity. The Jatakarma ceremony can take place when the umbilical cord connecting the child and the placenta is cut. However, since Krishna was brought by Vasudeva to the house of Nanda Maharaj, where was the chance for this to happen? In this regard, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur desires to prove with evidence from many Shastras that Krishna actually took birth as the son of Yasoda before the birth of Yogamaya, who is therefore described as the Lord's younger sister. Her name is Subhadra. Even though there may be doubts about the cutting of the umbilical cord, and even though it is possible this was not done, when the Supreme Personality of Godhead appears, such events are regarded as factual. Krishna appeared as Varahadev from the nostril of Brahma, and therefore Brahma is described as the father of Varahadev. Also significant are the words Karayam Asha Vidhivat. Being overwhelmed with jubilation over the birth of his son, Nanda Maharaj did not see whether the cord was cut or not. Thus he performed the ceremony very gorgeously. According to the opinion of some authorities, Krishna was actually born as the son of Yasoda. In any case, without regard for material understandings, we can accept that Nanda Maharaj's celebration for the ceremony of Krishna's birth was proper. This ceremony is therefore well known everywhere as Nandotsava. Om Jnana Atimirandasya Agyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanabhyo Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. One of Srila Prabhupada's early disciples is Grace Gagamuni Prabhu. He joined with his older brother, who's late now, Brahmananda Prabhu at 26 2nd Avenue. in New York City. Of course, Brahmananda Prabhu joined first and then he brought his brother along. So, Srila Prabhupada was observing maybe the first or second Janmashtami festival. And they didn't know anything about it. They didn't know how to observe it. Yeah. So, Brahmananda Prabhu's nature was, he wouldn't really question Srila Prabhupada why we're doing what we're doing. But Gagamuni used to, question quite a lot like that. He's there now. Gagamuni Prabhu is living in Vrindavan, quite old. So Gagamuni Prabhu, he asked Srila Prabhupada, we are observing this Krishna's appearance or Krishna's birth. Is Krishna really there? And really there? Like that. So we could understand from that particular question from Gagamuni Prabhu that it is not so easy to convince people that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yeah. Yeah. So Srila Prabhupada replied in a very simple way. And Srila Prabhupada just told him, I am here. So Gagamuni was a little bit confused because he asked Srila Prabhupada, is Krishna really there that we're observing his appearance? Like that. Then again Srila Prabhupada told him, I am here. Not that Prabhupada has become Krishna or something, but he just couldn't tell Gagamuni anything more than that. Anything more than that, yeah. So when Gagamuni Prabhu was relating this, even now if you speak to him, he says, I only know Srila Prabhupada. Okay. And because I know Srila Prabhupada and he knows Krishna, then I know Krishna is there. And therefore Prabhupada gave me that answer. Right. So we can well imagine or fathom, it was very difficult for Srila Prabhupada to convince people, even in the Western world. So Brahmananda Prabhu himself also was mentioning that something to the effect, the only reason why I took up Krishna consciousness is because the feeling of the affection that I received from Srila Prabhupada, I didn't receive from anyone else in this world. And therefore I stuck to him. Like that. And he himself mentioned whether I know Krishna or not, I know, I'm connected to Srila Prabhupada. So in this particular purport, Srila Prabhupada quotes Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And just to paraphrase, although the word birth is used, it is clear that Srila Prabhupada is making it clear that Krishna apparently was born to Devaki and Vasudeva. But he's not really taking birth on the basis of the connection between Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yasoda. And the reason is that if you tell Mother Yasoda that Krishna was born as your son, she is most likely to take like a transcendental broomstick and hit you with it and kick you out of the house. See? Because Mother Yasoda said, what do you mean you're born to me? Like, so therefore in this particular, because she feels that Krishna is eternally a son, there's no reason for appearance, to Mother Yasoda and Nanda Maharaj. Yeah. Because in this purport, very beautifully given by Srila Prabhupada, definitely there was a type of umbilical cord that was there in relationship to Devaki and Vasudeva when Krishna brought that Vasudeva Krishna to Mother Yasoda. So irrespective of that, in Nanda Gokula from Mathura, irrespective of that, Nanda Maharaj still had a great festival of the appearance of his son. But it is really not mentioned that Yasoda was doing that. It is mentioned Nanda Maharaj was doing that, even here and so forth. So, Srila Prabhupada in another place indicated somewhat, probably I heard it in the lecture, I didn't read it in the transcribed books. Srila Prabhupada gave a nice example actually. He said that in regular life, in cultured regular family life, not that uncultured ones, that the mother always sees the son as a little baby. And Srila Prabhupada said, even if the mother is 90 years of age, and the son is probably 70 years of age, and he is also a grandfather, still this is my son. So I happened to experience this in one family in Mauritius. And this devotee is probably 60 years of age and he's the youngest son. He's got 2 teenage children. Nice names, Chaitanya and Krishna Bhavana. They both initiated devotees, he and his wife. And his mother stays with him and she's almost 80 years of age. And when I visit them, I see the mother, she scolds him, Why you didn't take this? I could see that she still sees him as a little son, like that. So, when Mother Yasoda questioned Nanda Maharaj, why are you having this? Because it's called Nandotsava, it's not called Yasodotsava. Why are you doing all this? No, we have to celebrate, Our son is appearing to us. When did he appear? Like that. No, every day he's with us, he's appearing. Because Nanda Maharaj never argues with Mother Yasoda. She argues a lot. That is the definition of wife. It's natural. Yeah. So, when he has a festival like this, he doesn't know that Krishna has appeared, so to speak, in Nanda Gokula to him, because whatever Krishna's age is, so to speak, they just see him as their son. It doesn't matter. So Prabhupada gave that kind of example. That it happens to all of us in a cultured family. So when Srila Prabhupada gave that example, one devotee questioned him. So he asked, what is the value of us celebrating then Sri Krishna Janmashtami? Because it is very clear in this purport that Krishna appears as the son of Yasoda eternally, and apparently appears to be taking birth as the 8th child of Devaki and Vasudeva. See? But one disciple asked, so why do we celebrate Sri Krishna Janmashtami? So Srila Prabhupada said, it is to attract those who are not devotees yet to come to Krishna consciousness. It is not for you. It is not for you. And Srila Prabhupada gave this the own example. He said, every day you come to Mangalarti, right? And every day you live in the temple. So if you live with Shri Shri Radharanath here, why should the Lord appear? Prabhupada made sense. So why should the Lord appear? The Lord appears to attract those who are not in his entourage yet to come to him. That's all. And then Srila Prabhupada quoted these two famous verses from Bhagavad Gita. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata and paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya sadhuskritam. He quoted. So he said we should take those two verses from Bhagavad Gita and bring new people to the lotus feet of Krishna. Because if we are living in the Dham here, Shri Shri Radharanath Dham, and we're living with Shri Shri Radharanath, for us there's no appearance or disappearance. We're living with the Lord. Yeah. And that requires an internal realization. It requires that you're living with the Lord. It requires it. An internal realization that you're living with the Lord. And those who live with the Lord are most fortunate. Most fortunate. Of course, one has to take the consciousness of Krishna consciousness and give it to others who are not Krishna conscious by preaching the glories of the Lord. So therefore, the consciousness of the devotee is in relationship to Mother Yasoda and Nanda Maharaj. They live with Krishna eternally, just as you live eternally here with Shri Shri Radharanath. It's that simple. Now, I'll just switch to another type of discussion for now, because we, amongst devotees, it's not like new people. I'm going to just read a translation and purport from the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Adilila, chapter 4, text 7 to 19. Okay. Yeah. The translation to that particular verse from the Chaitanya Charitamrita goes as follows. The scriptures proclaim that Krishna previously descended to take away the burden of the earth. To take away this burden, however, is not the work of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The maintainer, Lord Vishnu, is the one who protects the universe. But the time to lift the burden of the world mixed with the time of Krishna's incarnation. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, we have information from the Bhagavad Gita that the Lord appears at particular intervals to adjust a time-worn spiritual culture. Lord Shri Krishna appeared at the end of Dwapara Yuga to regenerate the spiritual culture of human society and so also manifest his transcendental pastimes. Vishnu is the authorized Lord who maintains the material cosmos, and he is the principal deity who makes adjustments when there is improper administration in the cosmic creation. But Shri Krishna, being the primeval Lord, appears not in order to make such administrative adjustments, but only to exhibit his transcendental pastimes and thus attract the fallen souls back home, back to Godhead. However, the time for administrative rectification and the time for Lord Sri Krishna's appearance coincided at the end of the last Dwapara Yuga. Therefore, when Sri Krishna appeared, Vishnu, the Lord of maintenance, merged with him, because all the plenary parts and portions and parts of the absolute personality of Godhead merged with him during his appearance. So this particular translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada gives us the evidence that the four-armed Vishnu form appeared to Devaki and Vasudeva. But the Vrindavan Krishna, Shyama Sundar, he does not really appear. He's always with Nanda and Yasoda. So it's the Vishnu portion that sorts out the demons. It's not really Krishna, because Krishna plays. Krishna does not really fight, and therefore it's the Vishnu, Vasudeva Krishna, who went to the battlefield of Kurukshetra and also spoke the Bhagavad Gita. So Prabhupada gives that evidence. And then there's another beautiful verse in this group of verses in text 15 and 16, and it's very nice. I'll just read it for you from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Prema rasa niryasa karite ashvadana ragamaga bhakti loke karite pracharna rasika shekar Krishna parama karuna ehi doi hetu haite ichara udgama. Beautiful translation by Srila Prabhupada. The Lord's desire to appear was born from two reasons. The Lord wanted to taste the sweet essence of the mellows of love of God, and He wanted to propagate devotional service in the world on the platform of spontaneous attraction. Thus He is known as supremely jubilant and as the most merciful of all. This is in relation to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But in the purport, Srila Prabhupada speaks about Krishna's appearance. And in the purport, during the period of Lord Krishna's appearance, the killing of asuras or non-believers, such as Kamsa and Jarasandha, was done by Vishnu, who was within the person of Krishna. Such apparent killing by Lord Sri Krishna took place as a matter of course and was an incidental activity for him. But the real purpose of Lord Krishna's appearance was to stage a dramatic performance of his transcendental pastimes at Vrajabhumi, thus exhibiting the highest limit of transcendental mellow in the exchanges of reciprocal love between the living entity and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. These reciprocal exchanges of mellows are called raga bhakti, or devotional service to the Lord in transcendental rapture. Lord Sri Krishna wants to make known to all the conditioned souls that He is more attached to raga bhakti than vidhi bhakti, or devotional service under scheduled regulations. It is said in the Vedas, Taittiriya Upanishad 2.7, Raso Vaisaha. The Absolute Truth is the reservoir for all kinds of reciprocal exchanges of loving sentiments. He is also causelessly merciful, and He wants to bestow upon us this privilege of raga bhakti. Thus He appeared by His own internal energy. He is not forced to appear by any extraneous force. And then there's other reference I have, which I titled, Krishna simply appears to demonstrate His Vrindavan pastimes. That is the main reason why He appears. Now, I'll take it another way to help us on a practical level. Because spontaneous devotional service is something that's not discussed. It is goyatamam, it is confidential. Just like if you is your daughter? What's her name? Janavi. Janava. Okay. Kamala. Sundari. Okay. So Kamala Sundari, I'm going to ask you a question. You ready? You have a microphone here? It's like a wireless microphone. Just to explain this Raga Bhakti, I'm going to ask a question. No? I'm sure there's this. No? Okay. You can speak a little louder, I'll repeat, right? Yeah. So, can you describe your love for your daughter? Jana. She says unconditional. Now, can you tell me, like, in terms of measurement or something, how much do you love her? Like, so much, then? Can you say? Huh? A lot. A lot means it cannot be described. Yes or no? Yeah. So that's Raga Bhakti. In other words, if Kamala Sundari has a lot of affection for her daughter, she doesn't need to practice that. Doesn't need to practice. It is natural. And say, for example, Kamala Sundari has 3 children. I'm not predicting in the future. Right? Now, if all 3 children are with the mother, then there's a shared affection simultaneously, right? Yeah. But then Janava is the youngest child, and she tells the Mama, I just want to be with you. And the other 2, can you get them busy with something else? See? Yeah. So when we do Krishna Kirtan, congregational chanting, that is called a public display of our affection for Radha and Krishna. Jai. Where's your Yashoda? Your daughter? Nice to see you. You just came in? Okay, we'll speak. Shri Radha Radhanath ki. So, if you do kirtan, it's like a public display of your affection for Radha and Krishna, where Kamala Sundari was with all the children. But if you do japa, it's your personal intimate relationship with Radha and Krishna. Nobody else is there. That is called Raga Bhakti. And that cannot be described, it cannot be explained, it cannot be spoken about, it cannot be advertised, it cannot be philosophized. And His Holiness Giriraj Swami, one time, I happened to be there with him when his dear godbrother Bharadvaj Prabhu visited. And this is near Los Angeles, a place called we were in another place near Laguna Beach before we went to the ashram in Kapatira. So Bharadwaj Prabhu came there. Bharadwaj is a very early devotee. He's an artist, and he was the first American Transcendental Exhibition. Prabhupada sent him to make doll making exhibits and so forth. Fate, first American exhibition, FATE. They have dolls in the Los Angeles temple. So he came to visit His Holiness Giriraj Swami, and I was there. And His Holiness Giriraj Swami often quotes this. Yeah. So I was observing the exchanges. Yeah. And bringing some, something to serve them and so forth. But they were like laughing and joking and so forth. So in the end, Bharadwaj Prabhu said, Krishna consciousness may appear to be a philosophy. Like that. But he said that Krishna consciousness is simply love that is masquerading as a philosophy. And that is actually Raga Bhakti. And His Holiness Giriraj Swami quotes that often. He heard it from Bharadwaj Prabhu. And I thought that kind of made sense. Yeah, kind of made sense. So, when Kamala Sundari is just with Janava, that is japa. And you have to enter into Raga Bhakti on your own intimate personal level. Otherwise, we just mechanically, because that's how the Lord appears in the heart. If you're intimately related to Radha and Krishna, the Lord appears in the heart like that. So it's a nice day to chant more japa, if you can. And in some temples during Janmashtami, they don't do kirtan in the temple. They do kirtan a little outside or something. They just want the devotees to be with the Lord, so they come in and just chant japa in front of the Lord. They chant. In some temples they have that kind. Yeah. But probably in the evenings when the public comes and we do kirtan in the temple. Yeah. So I just thought I'll mention what is a sort of type of Raga Bhakti according to my limited realization and according to, on a practical level. Yeah. Now, there are various features if you consider this is your last material body and go back home, back to Goloka Vrindavan. In other words, you have to be with Krishna now to be with Him after you leave this body. You can't be with Radha and Krishna after you leave this body. See? You have to leave this body while you're already with them while leaving this body. That's how it's transitioned. Like that. So Srila Prabhupada gives various ways of how you can be eternally with Krishna even while leaving this body, but some not immediately. So he quotes from Bhagavata, Shruti Nam Srinvatam Dehe. In other words, if you haven't completed your devotional service, then you'll take birth in a Vaishnav Brahman family in the next life, or you'll take birth in a wealthy mercantile Vaishya family, where you will not have any lack of food, clothing and shelter, and you'll continue your Krishna consciousness from the past life. It's a nice birth, but you'll have to take birth again. See? However, if your Krishna consciousness is sufficiently complete in its arrangement, and the simple adhikar, when your Krishna consciousness is complete, sufficiently complete internally, is that you shouldn't even have the slightest dislike for any living entity. It is not envy, it is not jealousy. That's gross. But the slightest dislike, not liking, for some reason, some not liking is there for any living entity. What to speak of the association of devotees, even non-devotees. So when that slightest dislike is not there, which is the slightest dislike of how we landed in the material world anyway, trying to take the place of Krishna, then you may be able to take birth in this Bhoma Vrindavan, in the womb of a gopi, in one of the villages in Vraj Mandala. So when His Holiness Lokanath Swami asked Srila Prabhupada the question, what is the situation with the current Vrajabasis in Vrindavan? So Srila Prabhupada gave two answers. Srila Prabhupada said, if they are a bit naughty and they commit some sinful activity in the Dham, then they'll take birth in the next life as a monkey or a pig or a dog. He mentioned these three. Because they don't have any karma in the lower species. And through that birth, which is a little bit not nice in the Dham, then they'll take birth again in the womb of a gopi in one of the Vrindavan villages. And then they'll get sufficiently trained up and they'll be reminded, and don't do anything naughty, don't do anything sinful. Yeah. Then Srila Prabhupada said in a lecture in Mayapur that if you're very attached to me, like Garga Muni is, and Brahmananda Prabhu, like that, he said, then you'll take birth in another universe where I am preaching. He said, similarly like that you took birth in this planet because I'm preaching, so my Guru Maharaj Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur sent all of you to me to help me in my preaching. Similarly you'll take birth there. You know, sometimes you hear devotees have left Srila Prabhupada. Where did they? Oh, they must have joined Srila Prabhupada somewhere. They say like that, which is true. Yeah. See? But then you have to take birth again. And if you take that kind of birth, then you'll take birth again in one of Krishna's eternal roadshow pastimes within the universe, and then you'll get further trained again. And then no more birth. You go to Goloka Vrindavan in the spiritual nature. But it's all progressive. It's all progressive appearances on the path to Goloka Vrindavan. Yeah. Then we have in our new Vrindavan temple, and Srila Prabhupada mentions this in America, in West Virginia hills, you know. We have a place called New Vrindavan, yeah. So when Srila Prabhupada was there, he said, this is Sri Sri Radha Vrindavan Chandra. Yeah. And he said, all our Radha Krishna deities in our temples are none different from Sri Sri Radha Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan. So, by some, you could say, Prabhupada uses the term, somehow in this conversation, Prabhupada uses the term Krishna Guru Kripa. He uses the word Krishna Guru Kripa. He said, Krishna is within your heart and guiding you to come to Him. Krishna Guru. He somehow uses that word, Krishna Guru Kripa. It's another name for Chaitanya Guru. And Srila Prabhupada says that one day, that like Radhanath we have here, will speak to you. And that realization is to come, then you don't have to take birth in Bhoma Vrindavan. You don't have to take birth where Prabhupada is preaching in another universe. You don't have to take birth in Krishna's eternal pastime show. You'll go straight to Golok. Just with Shri Shri Radhanath. But it requires that eternal realization. So therefore, the best way for the Lord to appear for us, and Srila Prabhupada says in the purport, and in other places, he said we should desire to join Krishna's dancing party. That's called Rasa Lila. But he says it in those simple words, Krishna's dancing party. So one disciple asked Srila Prabhupada, how do you do that? How do you do that? Then Srila Prabhupada simply didn't explain, and he just said, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And Prabhupada simply explained this in a line, in a purport in the Bhagavad Gita. And he said that when you chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, Radha and Krishna are dancing on your tongue. That indicates you become the abode of the Rasa Lila. You become the abode of the Rasa, which is through the Sandhini Shakti, which is through the presiding personality of the Sandhini Shakti is Lord Balaram. He carries the whole Dham. So Srila Prabhupada indicated that you don't have to worry about how you're going to join Radha Krishna's dancing party. You just chant the Hare Krishna, and automatically by some purification you'll sort of be carried there without you knowing being carried there, with no more material body again. So that's the best thing to do for regular devotees, to chant the holy names more. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I'm not sure what time I should stop or take questions, or somebody wants to speak something. Come on. We have time. It says, can't see the clock. What should we do? There's some program coming at 9. We have the Acharya that controls everything. He says, I have to stop. I have to stop? Okay, we'll have to follow his instruction. Alright, so if there's no comments or questions, well, we can't take it because we have to follow the time. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki, Shri Radha Radhanath ki, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki, Shri Giriraj Govardhan ki, Shri Krishna Janmashtami Mahamotsava ki, Thai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari.